The morning sun poured through the tall glass windows of the corporate building, glinting off marble floors and polished metal. Employees hurried through the lobby with coffee cups and files in hand, voices blending into a steady hum of business. Upstairs, behind a frosted glass door marked, Employee Child Learning Center, a group of children sat in a small, modern classroom. Ms. Clara, a kind and patient woman in her late 20s, stood in front of the class with a digital board behind her. She loved teaching and had taken this job so employees' children could learn while their parents worked. Her warm smile filled the room as she held a marker. "All right, everyone," she said cheerfully, "today, we'll try something special, a math shortcut that even grown-ups sometimes forget." The children, dressed neatly in their uniforms, leaned forward. Among them sat Emma, a quiet 8-year-old girl with curly brown hair and big brown eyes behind slightly crooked glasses. Her clothes were clean but a little worn. She rarely spoke, but she was always listening. Ms. Clara wrote an equation on the board. A plus B squared equals. She turned around. "Who knows the answer?" A boy raised his hand quickly. "It's A squared plus B squared," he said confidently. Ms. Clara smiled. "Close, Lucas, but not quite." She waited, scanning the room. Most of the kids looked down, trying to think. Then, slowly, a small hand lifted. "Yes, Emma." Emma hesitated, her voice quiet but clear. "It's A squared plus 2ab plus B squared." The room went silent. Ms. Clara blinked, surprised. "That's absolutely correct, Emma. Well done." The children turned to look at her. Some whispered in surprise. Lucas frowned a little, then smiled awkwardly. Ms. Clara walked closer. "That's not an easy one. Have you learned this before?" Emma nodded shyly. "My dad showed me." Ms. Clara paused. "Your dad?" Emma smiled a little. "Yes. He said math is like fixing things. If you understand how one part connects to another, you can make anything work again." Something in that answer made Ms. Clara curious. Later that afternoon, as parents came to pick up their children, Emma waited near the back door, holding her little backpack. The janitor entered, a tall man in his early 40s, wearing a simple blue uniform with the company's logo. His hands were rough from years of work, but his eyes were gentle. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly, kneeling to zip her bag. "Ready to go home?" Emma nodded. "Daddy," Ms. Clara said my answer was perfect. The man smiled proudly. "That's my girl." Ms. Clara, standing nearby, overheard. She realized the janitor was Emma's father. Something about the way he spoke, calm, respectful, full of quiet confidence, made her pause. The next morning, during math hour, Ms. Clara gave the children a harder problem. "Let's see if anyone can solve this one," she said, writing a complex equation with fractions and brackets. No one raised their hand, except Emma. She walked up shyly and began writing on the board. Her handwriting was small but clear. She finished the entire solution, each step logical and perfect. Ms. Clara was stunned. "Emma, this is university-level problem solving. Who taught you this?" Emma turned and smiled proudly. "My dad." The class gasped. Lucas whispered, "But, her dad is the janitor." Ms. Clara silenced him with a look, but inside, her mind was spinning. How could a janitor teach such advanced math to an 8-year-old? That afternoon, she found Emma's father mopping the hallway. "Mr. Harris?" she asked gently. He turned, surprised. "Yes, ma'am, I hope you don't mind me asking," she began. "Your daughter has an incredible grasp of mathematics. She mentioned you taught her." He wiped his hands awkwardly on a towel. "Oh, yeah, I just try to help her a little when I can. But the level she's at, it's far beyond what's expected for her age. Are you a teacher? Or?" He smiled humbly. "No, ma'am, I used to study engineering. But life had other plans. When Emma's mom got sick, I dropped out and started working wherever I could. I didn't want her to grow up struggling like we did, so I teach her whatever I know after work." Ms. Clara stood there, moved. She saw pride in his eyes, not arrogance, but love. Later that week, the company's CEO, Ms. Victoria Hale, announced she would visit the Children's Center for a brief evaluation. She was a woman known for her brilliance and strictness, confident, intimidating, and always in control. When she arrived, the room went silent. Employees straightened, teachers stood still, and the kids looked in awe. Ms. Clara greeted her nervously. "Welcome, Ms. Hale. The children have been working hard. Would you like to see a demonstration?" Victoria nodded curtly. "Proceed." Ms. Clara wrote a new problem on the board, a complicated algebraic formula used in the company's analytics software. Who wants to try solving this? She asked, hoping at least one child would volunteer. No one moved. Then Emma's hand went up again. Victoria raised an eyebrow. You. Emma nodded, walked to the board, and began writing quickly, no hesitation, no confusion. Every line connected perfectly until she circled the final answer. Ms. Clara smiled softly. That's correct. The CEO's eyes narrowed, curious. Where did you learn that formula? Emma turned to her and said simply, my dad taught me. Victoria blinked. Your dad? Emma nodded proudly. He works here too. Victoria looked around. Oh, what department? Emma smiled innocently. He cleans the floors. The room fell completely silent. The CEO turned to Ms. Clara, who looked both nervous and amazed. Victoria seemed caught between disbelief and intrigue. A moment later, she said, bring him here. Within minutes, Mr. Harris entered, slightly confused, holding his mop. Ma'am, you called for me. Victoria studied him. Your daughter claims you taught her this formula. He looked down, modest. Yes, ma'am, I used to study mathematics before I had to drop out. I just wanted to pass on what I know. Victoria's expression softened, though her tone remained firm. Do you realize the level of intelligence your daughter just displayed? He smiled faintly. She's always been bright. I just show her the path. She walks it herself. Victoria glanced between them, the man in his work clothes and the little girl holding his hand. Something shifted inside her. The arrogance of status melted away for a moment, replaced by respect. She turned to Ms. Clara. Prepare a report on this child's academic level. I want her enrolled in an advanced program. On the company's expense. Mr. Harris was stunned. Ma'am, that's not necessary. Victoria interrupted. It's not charity, Mr. Harris. It's recognition. Emma grinned up at her father. See, Daddy, I told you your formulas are special. He knelt down, hugging her tightly. No, sweetheart, you're the special one. Victoria watched them quietly, her expression unreadable. Then she said, almost softly, it seems I have something to learn about where true genius can come from. The next day, Emma started special tutoring sessions with Ms. Clara. Victoria personally checked in from time to time, sometimes even sitting to watch Emma solve problems that baffled analysts twice her age. A week later, during a company event, Victoria called Mr. Harris and Emma to the stage. Employees filled the large hall, surprised to see a janitor being invited to stand beside the CEO. Victoria took the microphone. Today, I want to share a story that reminded me that brilliance doesn't come from titles or offices. It comes from love, effort, and belief. She looked at Emma. This little girl solved a formula that most of us couldn't, and when I asked who taught her, she said. Victoria smiled. Her janitor dad. The hall filled with applause. Mr. Harris stood frozen, overwhelmed. Emma clutched his hand. Victoria turned to him. From now on, you'll be assisting our R&D team part-time. Your knowledge deserves better use. He shook his head in disbelief. Ma'am, I don't know what to say. She smiled. Just keep teaching her. That's all. As the applause grew louder, Ms. Clara stood at the back, tears in her eyes. Emma's bright face glowed under the lights. Her father's rough hands trembled as he wiped them quickly, trying not to cry. Later that night, as they walked home, Emma looked up at her father. Daddy, do you think you'll be a scientist one day? He smiled, holding her hand tightly. You already are one, sweetheart. You just haven't realized it yet. She giggled, swinging his hand as the city lights sparkled around them. Far behind them, in her office window high above, Victoria watched the two figures disappear down the street, the janitor and his daughter, and whispered to herself, genius isn't born in offices. It's born in hearts that never stop teaching. And somewhere deep down, for the first time in years, the powerful CEO smiled, not out of pride, but out of humility.